Yo, what is going on, guys? Matthew V. Haynes here, aka the Clock Master. So, we're going to be talking about MCU Phase 4, San Diego Comic-Con. I didn't do a video yesterday, guys, because I was actually doing yoga with goats. If you don't believe me, go check out my Instagram pictures. I got some stuff on there on Instagram, at Matthew V. Haynes. But we're here now, so I did a bunch of stuff. I took a lot of notes, man. I took a bunch of notes on my computer about everything concerning San Diego Comic-Con and MCU Phase 4. Don't mind my hair, by the way. I'm trying something different. I gotta wash it today. It's just a little, band I put up there. So I want to see y'all in the comments. Oh my God, he cut your hair. I didn't cut my hair. All right, and so, okay, so if you guys see me looking at the screen, like I said, I took some notes, so just don't mind that, okay? I'm trying to, read it and do everything at the same time. If you guys don't already know, Kevin Feige confirmed that this layout will be Phase 4. Any one of these movies and projects are subject to change, be removed. Now, Phase 4 includes both the TV series and the film, so I'm just going to break down all the Disney Plus shows that have been announced yesterday and all the films that have been announced for Phase 4, and we'll talk a little bit about Phase 5. So the MCU Phase 4 Disney Plus series includes The Falcon and Winter Soldier in fall 2020, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, February 12th, 2021, WandaVision, spring 2021, Loki in spring 2021, Loki also in spring 2021, Hawkeye in fall of 2021, and What If, which is falling in summer of 2021. Now that's it for the Disney Plus, so I'll talk a little bit more about the description of those and also my opinions on each one of these projects. So let's talk about the films. So the MCU Phase 4 will start with Black Widow in May 1st of 2020, The Eternals November 6th of 2020, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness May 7th, 2021, and Thor Love and Thunder, aka Thor 4, on November 5th, 2021. You might notice some of the movies that have been rumored about is not mentioned in Phase 4. That's because a lot of these movies are actually going to be coming out in Phase 5, so we're going to be expecting to see that within the next 5 to 10 years, to be honest with you guys. So Kevin Feige also hinted of Phase 5 in some of the movies that were mentioned, so here we go. We're going to talk about those really quickly. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume Number 3, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, the possibility of a Fantastic Four film, and also the X-Men being brought into the universe, and a big shocker that no one saw coming last night, Mahershala Ali as Blade in the Blade reboot. So starting with films, we have the Eternals. If you guys don't know about the Eternals, it's going to be a film about some immortals that have been living on Earth for a very long time. They all have very different, interesting powers, and this includes, the movie also is going to have big names like Salma Hayek and Angelina Jolie to star in this film. I believe Salma Hayek is going to be playing the leader of the Eternals. Now, I personally don't know much about the Eternals. I haven't read anything in the comic books. I only know what I've heard about them and what I've seen online and things that I've read on Google. But from what I'm hearing, it's going to be something very quite interesting to see. And hopefully it doesn't turn to something that, unfortunately was the Inhumans. It's going to take Sam Wilson and Bucky just basically fighting a bunch of crime after the events of Avengers Endgame. You'll also see the return of Baron Zemo as the series villain. That's going to be very interesting to me, because here are we going to see one of the actual first projects that take place, with the original, some of the members that we've seen from Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. We're going to see them doing their own thing post Avengers Endgame. So as we saw in Endgame, Steve gave Sam Wilson the shield, and after he got the shield, basically becoming the next Captain America. And Baron Zemo, we saw that he was arrested. I believe he got away somehow towards the end. I can't remember exactly what happened with that in Civil War, but he's coming back, and I'm excited to see what they do with that. I think it's going to be nice and interesting. I always love the chemistry between Bucky and Sam Wilson, and I like seeing them on screen together. We're going to see some Winter Soldier action. I'm very excited for that. It's going to be some epic fights. I'm going to love it. Shang-Chi, the Legend of Ten Rings, will see the main character fight against the Mandarin, not Ben Kingsley from Iron Man 3 or the Imposter or the other guy, but the actual Mandarin, who's going to be played by Chinese actor Tony Leung. Another property that I don't know too much about, Shang-Chi, I probably should know about, and obviously all of these stuff that I don't know about, I'm going to read about them so I can have more theories for you guys, more things to discuss on the channel. I'm going to read the comic books and all that, but from what I've read from Shang-Chi in the wikias and the descriptions, he sounds like a really cool guy. Supposedly this character is supposed to be a lot better than Iron Fist, so I gotta see that. It's going to be awesome. WandaVision. So after that, we have WandaVision. It's going to star Elizabeth Olsen back as Scarlet Witch, Paul Bettany as Vision. I don't know exactly where in the timeline this movie will take place, but I can assume that it'll be somewhere before the event of Infinity War, or maybe somehow it's going to be after Infinity War or Endgame. Maybe they make another Vision that has some of the memories of Jarvis. Who knows? This show is also going to introduce a grown-up version of Monica Rambeau. WandaVision. This is one of the things that I'm excited for, but not too excited for, because I love Scarlet Witch. But as I mentioned, I don't know where in the timeline this is going to be taking place. And if it's before Infinity War, maybe showcasing their time while they were abroad, you know, hiding from the government and all that, it'd be cool. It'd be interesting to see, but I wouldn't necessarily view that. I wouldn't, like, it's like watching Agent Carter. It's like, okay, it's cool, but it's like, okay, we already know what happens to her, so, you know, essentially a prequel. But as I mentioned, it could be something where they create somehow another Vision is created, his memories are saved or something, and maybe it's post Endgame, or maybe something with the Infinity Stone, something happens or whatever. Maybe Vision comes back. I don't know, guys. I don't know how they're gonna do it or what they're gonna do with that, but that's all we have to go off of as far as WandaVision is concerned. Loki, we're gonna see Tom Hiddleston return back to play Loki. Now, again, we saw in Avengers Endgame, he took the Tesseract and disappeared, so we don't know if they're somehow tying that into this, or if this is going to be a prequel for the Loki story. There's also some interesting comments about the Loki logo. A lot of people don't like it. I don't like how it looks. It does look a little weird. It looks like if they were trying to mess around with different fonts, it couldn't decide one and just decided to type it in all different fonts. Or maybe because the fact that Loki can be a master of disguise and changes different things, and maybe that's what they were going for with changing the different fonts on it. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Now, this one I'm excited for, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, the plot for this film wasn't really released at Comic-Con, but the film would also feature Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. Now, multiverse, anytime I hear anything about multiverse, it was mentioned, hinted back in Spider-Man Far From Home. We saw how that ended, and it was like, okay, it was not really a multiverse thing, but it was still hinted to us. So it's like, this can open a lot of doors, man. If we're actually seeing Doctor Strange dealing with a multiverse situation, we can see possibly Tony Stark return. We can see RDJ return, maybe for a cameo. Chris Evans could possibly return for a cameo. He did say that he would be open to it. They would be open to show him back up, even though their initial contract is over. We could be seeing completely different storylines of all sorts of different worlds, different heroes. They can possibly introduce all sorts of different heroes that we've seen that Marvel Studios previously owned, but just didn't have a chance to bring forth on the screen as yet. So you can see a bunch of different heroes that are taking over the Earth and that Earth and that Earth. So the idea of a multiverse is very cool, and I want to see what happens with this movie. And I really like Doctor Strange, and I became more of a fan of him as time went on. His movie was alright, and then when I saw Infinity War, I started to like him more. And in Endgame, obviously, just time just keeps going on. I'm like, okay, I really like this character. He's cool. Now, what if? This is going to be an anthology series hosted by Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. It'll be an animated series, and it's going to focus on some stories that were not able to be told in the original MCU Phase 3. I'm open for some nice animated content, honestly. It's going to be in a Disney Plus streaming service, so hopefully it's not going to be some cheesy, corny stuff. I know some other of the original actors are going to be brought back. I know Michael B. Jordan is going to come back as Killmonger, voicing the character. Some other characters are going to come back and voice their characters, so it's going to be interesting to see. But the Watcher is also very an interesting character to bring to screen to use for this situation. I really like to see how that turns out, man. I like me some good animation, and I'm looking forward to that. Hawkeye, this is another Disney Plus series. It will bring back Jeremy Renner as in the role of Hawkeye. It'll also introduce his successor, Kate Bishop, as the future Hawkeye. This series is also set to showcase some of Clint Barton's time as Ronin. Again, more of these solo actions, being able to focus on certain characters, giving them some time and story and depth and development, which is really cool. The high budget, we're gonna be getting like film-like quality for episodes. It's gonna be really cool. And Kate Bishop as Hawkeye, or future Hawkeye, that's going to be awesome to see. I saw the little teaser that Jeremy Renner posted on his Twitter, and the crowd was going ballistic once they saw the teaser that was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, this is Thor 4, Love and Thunder. So this is going to be the fourth Thor film and the second to be directed by Taika Waititi. But this time it's going to have Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, to return to take on the title as Thor. Opinions for this, guys. When I saw this, I was excited but also concerned, because I know the fan reception is not really going to like that too much. But Jane Foster's Thor is that I actually do like Jane Foster's Thor in the comic books. Now, can Natalie Portman be able to deliver the same characters, emotional depth, and things like that as a Jane Foster in the comic books? Hopefully. People are concerned that she won't be able to bulk up, but it's Marvel. They can figure something out. We have a while before we see this movie. We have a couple years. They're most likely in production anyway, so she's going to train. They're going to do stuff to her. As to how this movie is going to play, maybe Chris Hemsworth is, we're going to see him, and then in the beginning and maybe somewhere towards the end, they pass on the torch to her, and she's going to lead into phase 5 as the new face of Thor. People who don't know anything about the comics are getting triggered over this because people are saying, oh, they're trying to turn Thor into a female and blah, blah, blah. This has been in the comic books for a while now. This is not any news here. In the Unworthy Thor storyline, he had already given up his position as Thor. In the comic books, especially the recent ones that came up within the last 10 years, Thor is known for not really claiming his position as Thor. He's known for challenging that and challenging being a king and always going about doing his own thing. He's always just been that way, from what I've read at least. He'd already passed on the torch to Jane Foster for her to be Thor a long time ago, essentially. She already took that role up. That's already been going on in the comic books for a few years now. That's not new. Those who don't know about the comic books, please don't be triggered by that. That's something that has always been canon, and it's going to be canon. We're going to see that represented in the MCU, and I'm excited for that. Now, if you have any qualms about Natalie Portman's acting, now that's a different story. I mean, if you don't like how she acts, you don't like her as an actress, that's fine. I can understand that. If those are your complaints, I can understand that for sure. I believe Tessa Thompson's character Valkyrie has been confirmed to be part of the LGBT community. I know a lot of people are triggered by that as well. Again, in the comics, I've known Valkyrie as being a bisexual character, so I mean, that's what that is. So far, Thor Love and Thunder is definitely causing a lot of controversy, both good and bad. But either way, people are talking about it, so we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. I'm excited to see Jane Foster as Thor. Hopefully they added some more, like I said, some more depth to her character, because in the first movie she was just like, oh my god, Thor, he has abs, I love him, blah 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 blah. Hopefully they just add more stuff to that, and I think all that has to just do with the writers. I don't think it's the actor's fault. I think that just has to do with the writers and how they do her script and all of that. Now finally, the Black Widow film. This movie will kick off phase 4 for the MCU next year. It's going to showcase Black Widow's time in Budapest. It's going to star David Harbour as the Red Guardian alongside with Rachel Weisz as Melina. Again, we already knew this is going to be a prequel. Obviously, it's not a sequel because she died in Endgame, spoiler alert. So we just have to take it for what it is and enjoy the content that's given to us. Maybe it'll give us some hints for some other things and some other projects, cameos and things that the MCU has planned going forward. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how a Black Widow solo movie is going to be handled, how Scarlett Johansson how Scarlett Johansson handled that. She's just gonna go all John Wick on everybody, and it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for it. So the Phase 5 movies, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, and the Fantastic Four, along with Blade, has not been spoken about too much at San Diego Comic-Con, but we can confirm that the Blade reboot will be a Phase 5 film, and as I mentioned earlier, Mahershala Ali personally requested out to Kevin Feige in order to play this role. I feel personally like I'm more excited for Phase 5 than I am for Phase 4, because more familiar faces are going to show up. You're going to have Guardians of the Galaxy 3, familiar people that we know. Black Panther 2, you already know, man. Come on. Black Panther 2. I liked Captain Marvel. I can't wait to see Brie Larson in Captain Marvel 2. And of course, the idea of Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Blade is really awesome. So I feel like I'm more excited for Phase 5 than I am for Phase 4. However, I am interested to see how everything is going to play out, and I'm there for the ride. When the Disney Plus streaming service rolls out, I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch every single thing when it comes out, and I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. Marvel is still releasing content to us and telling their stories. People want to look at Phase 4 as like a big filler arc for like the main stories, but this is all connected into a bigger universe. They're trying to connect as much characters as they can, create an empire. You can't really wrap up all the stories with just 21 movies. You just can't really do that. All right, but that's it for this video, guys. I know it's a long one, but if you watch all the way till the end, I do appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts down below on this MCU Phase 4 news. I want to hear it from you. Let me know your thoughts. I'll speak with you guys down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new and you watch all the way to the end. I appreciate it. Clockmaster out.